Welcome to my humble abode. How are you doing on this mundane day? Good, I hope. You know what really grinds my gears? And I mean really grinds my gears? When people from actors, celebrities, YouTubers, or people you know in person say this one singular phrase. If I had a nickel for every time so-and-so happened, I'd have 2 nickels. I know that's not a lot, but it's weird it happened twice. If you are guilty of doing this unironically, please stand up so we can all properly escort you to the nearest Sarlacc pit to jump in. It's one of those phrases to me that anybody who uses it thinks that they are a smarty pants because they said something original, when really they sound just as great as a 50-something-year-old dad, single dad, saying, "Oh, I guess it's Brie," when his item doesn't scan at the fucking grocery store. Everybody, stop saying this phrase. Please, stop it! Today's story takes place in the year 2017. In my last video, I explained how, for the most of my life, my best friend group, one being Nova, and an other epic friend being FatCanda, were a unit and played Xbox pretty much every single day. We were all our only friends in general, pretty much. I also explained there was about a year where me and Nova fell apart and didn't get along, so it was just me and FatCanda. That's exactly when this story takes place. A few days or weeks after blocking Derek from faking cancer and manipulating me to be his friend, link in the description, me and FatCanda were bored while we were playing GTA. We played for a couple hours. I want to say it was hitting around 9 o'clock at night at this point, and we started having a discussion. I told FatCanda that I wish me and Nova weren't on bad terms anymore, so we could all play together again. Me and FatCanda had fun all the time, but we just missed the chaos that Nova used to bring. Great chaos, mind you. I'd gladly relive the days playing with these two. FatCanda's light bulb sparks up and he lays out his new idea. What if we do a community post to try and reach out for new friends to fill out Nova's absence? By the way, I'm not going to say why me and Nova were at odds because it's a personal issue. I'm sure you can understand. I couldn't even remake this stupid post that me and FatCanda were thinking of if I tried. We typed out requirements you have to be able to join our friend group at all. The ones I can remember were: 1, you needed to smoke the wacky tobacco. 2, you had to like horror movies and rock music, pretty much our interests. And 3, you could not be a squeaker, even though I was a slight one, but FatCanda was straight up one at the time. Did I just throw FatCanda under the bus? Maybe, but hey, we're friends, so I get the pass, okay? We wrote down a lot of stupid shit, but honestly, it's not worth trying to deep fry my tiny brain by digging into the dark crevices that are in my headspace and remembering what we wrote because of one simple reason. We didn't even follow the requirements we set. I'm not even kidding. Our goal was to get the most epicest friend group ever, according to us at least. But once we actually had someone join our party, we completely forgot about the requirements. If I had to guess, it was probably because we were just so desperate to fill Nova's Nova-shaped hole that nobody could realistically fit in. There was one rule that was stronger than the others, however, that we did keep in the back of our minds at least, because of how often we played together and how often we played together. One of the requirements that I didn't mention, that I do remember, that is probably the most important one, is you pretty much have to dedicate yourself to the friend group. We were a family, and we didn't have any friends, like I said at the beginning. We were our only, friend group, the ones we were there for each other. So naturally, we would want you to be there with us full-time, a full-time friend group, if you will. After we made our bootleg Craigslist ad on Xbox, we eagerly, yet nervously, waited for someone to hit us up. we started inventing what-if scenarios about the person that we were trying to replace Nova with. At this time, we were actively trying to replace Nova on the group permanently, because I was very sure we'd never be friends again. I was convinced we were donezo. The excitement the what-ifs brought us died, and we were sat there, and it was replaced with straight up nervousness and fear, because the new guy joined, and we had no idea what was about to happen, what was going to go down, or if we were going to make a new friend, or if this person was going to thought we were going to be cringe and leave. I'm not sure about him, but that's pretty much what I felt like. But persevering through it, because I truly wanted a 3 to 4 person friend group again so desperately, the new person joins, and the Xbox party was very, very quiet. You could have heard a feather fall onto a pillow. After that painful, awkward silence, FatCanda's balls grew bigger than mine temporarily, because he spoke up to the new guy. Yeah, FatCanda, I know, I said temporarily. I'm always the bigger guy. We always knew this. He introduced himself and asked how the new guy was. I'm gonna call the new guy Zelee, because he said he was from New Zealand. He is the first and last person I've ever met from there, so already I thought he was cool. Zelee was a quiet, shy guy, and when he spoke, it was a little quieter. Like the new kid at the school being forced to say 3 things about themselves in front of the class. Me and FatCanda were playing GTA, and we asked Zelee if he had it, but he said no. We asked if he had Minecraft, but he said no. Perplexed, we just kind of sat there for a second quietly. Those were pretty much the only 2 games we played back then, like I've said before, so maybe we could potentially install a free game to play together. I asked him what he plays, and devastatingly, he replies with a nasty, nasty word. FIFA. Cringe. Legit was the only game he played other than some racing game and Destiny, which I didn't have any of those. Safe to say that we weren't gonna be playing with him, but for as quiet as he was a pretty cool dude. He was down to earth, nice, and whenever we actually had a topic to talk about with him, he indulged. I did feel the weight of disappointment, because I really did want to find another full-time friend. We asked him if he even smoked the leafy greens like us, but he was strictly straight edge. However, he did find me and FatCanda's high talking to be very funny. You know, the stereotypical way people portrayed stoners, how they talk. Whoa, man, this is crazy, man. I'm feeling all, yo, man, this is great. You know, that kind of thing. Me and FatCanda were that to a literal T. Okay, there is a T at that. I guess you're right. He just got into smoking not that long ago, and I still had to build up my tolerance. So we both acted like and talked like newbie freshmen smoking for the first time, because essentially that's what we were. After about 30 minutes or so of just talking about whatever, FatCanda gets another message on Xbox. Another account said that he would love to join in on the group we formed. That guy gets an immediate invitation to our goofy-ass party, and once he joins, he instantly was said, "Oh, hey everybody, how's it going?" He was super, so happy, you know? He just had such an infectious happiness to him that just hearing him talk made me want to smile, put me in a good mood. We all introduced ourselves one by one, like if we were all introducing ourselves to the same new kid who had to say the 3 nice things about him. I seriously fucking hated when teachers did that. I would always freeze up, stutter so bad because of my social anxiety. And that's when this newest guy chuckled and asked how old we are. Not in any creepy way, there was a valid reason, just wait. I was 15, FatCanda was like 13, and Zelee was 16. The newest guy let out a big, contagious laugh and says, "I'm 58." Me and FatCanda started laughing because of the absurdity of it. I was completely dumbfounded. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever, honestly. Let me explain what this guy was like to paint you an idea here. You could tell his voice that he was an older guy, but the way he talked, his age, it didn't sound like it was more of a positive thing, you know? He wasn't one of those old people that used Gen Z lingo to sound hip with the kids, or he didn't try to like get down and talk on our level. But he also didn't have that old-timey speech where he, hated new things nowadays and he thought old things were better. Or let me put it this way. He was one of those old black guys who are always smiling, have a mountain-sized amount of positivity and niceness so strong that you just can't help but smile and just be in a good mood. Or like, they come up to you like, "What's up, bud?" and stuff. You just get all happy. You just want to have a nice conversation with him, It's just nice. That dude was so nice, so happy, so positive. It wasn't even sickening sweet. It was the perfect kind of sweet. This whole portion was my favorite part of the story right here. I'm gonna call him Old Joe just because it just feels right. It feels like it fits him perfectly. Old Joe was 8 ginger ales down and was still going strong. So, you know what that means. He went on drunk person ramble mode. But it wasn't like the old bitch that gave me meth when I was 17. Link in the description also. She made me very uncomfortable with her incoherent rants, and she was a very touchy person. Pretty much she made me think a wood chipper looked very cozy. Old Joe's rambles were about actual real-world problems and stuff he disagreed with. He had his slurred speech, of course, but it wasn't just like a random incoherent person just yapping about whatever. He was talking about very, very inspirational stuff in a way. Stuff that I kind of agreed with. But he wasn't bitching about how this is bad or yada yada. Not exactly, but he would actually bring up valid points of what it was. It wasn't just, "Oh, this is bad lamau because me no likey." He actually had he was a talker. I want to say if this dude had the choice, I am sure he would be a politician. Not that he's a liar or any of this and that. But this dude can hold a speech is more of what I'm saying. Take a president that has a good reputation and that can hold a really good speech that gets you absolutely immersed and captures your interest into it. That was pretty much it. One of the things he talked about was the state of the world without actually getting political. Ironically, what I said he kind of reminded me of. But it was more talking about social issues and other specific topics. The one thing I remember him talking about was something I have a really strong opinion about. Listening to him talk about this topic made me actually feel seen and made me kind of happy that I wasn't alone on the thought. This first topic I'm talking about right now isn't anything extremely serious. It isn't a social issue, like I said earlier. He did talk about actual social issues, but this one isn't. So let me be clear. I didn't want to come off as I'm about to say something very offensive or anything. We talked about music and what it represents, specifically rap music. Rap is a very creative and entertaining genre of music, and there are countless artists out there that have mastered it and perfected it. There are many that I'm sure you can just lay down in the comments. Throw out some names out there. Go ahead if you want to. I'm not just about it wasn't just about how to rap though, or anything like that. It's about what rap means as a whole, what messages and stuff people are putting into their songs, their art, their work, if you will. Not every rap song has to be deep or have a sad meaning, or it doesn't have to be like something special. They can make you laugh, cry, smile, hurt, angry, but there has been a giant wave that's just desaturized the genre as a whole for me, and him as it seems. Take someone like Blueface, for example. If you listen to his music, almost all of them have a similar theme. It's about one of, if not multiple things in a single song. It can go from one, boasting about how epic and great he is and how much money he makes, and two, making the song all about sex and how many women he gets, to the point where it sounds like he's just very insecure and actually doesn't get any girls. Now hear me out. That's not a bad thing per se. There is absolutely nothing wrong with making songs about wanting to fuck or just fuck songs in general, but if all you have to bring to the table is, I have sex with women, I get tons of women, I get more women than you, I am the woman master, all I can think is that you are so insecure that you've gone out of your way to gender your right hand as female just so you can claim that you've had sex with a woman. And three, just bragging about all the guns he has and he'll shoot somebody because he's all big and bad. Not saying that he wouldn't shoot somebody, but honestly, I think that just makes you more of a pussy than anything. Oh, boo-hoo, my feelings got hurt, now I'm gonna take your life. Cry, cry, boo-hoo, wang, wang. There are exceptions, of course, like, if the song is more about telling a story, like being in a gang or just like general hardships that came to living in the streets or whatever life trouble brings, that's fine, because that's actually like meaningful and shows like real heart was put into it, real like emotion. It's actually like something good. Not some narcissistic asshole screaming about how he has a gun and how terrific he is and how he'll fill you with holes like your SpongeBob. And lastly, number 4, a lot of music used in rap and even hip-hop nowadays sounds soulless and just artificial. It comes off as cheap and lazy to me, honestly. If you are really passionate about something, you'd think the music would try to, I don't know, complement the song and improve it instead of just being boring, basic robot-sounding background noise. It's just, I think the best example I can think of off the top of my head is Hot Shower from Chance the Rapper. Admittedly, I like the song. It's strictly due to the rapping and the personality that's in the song, but the background music just sounds fake and robotic, and it's just, I feel is the number one reason that is desaturizing rap as a whole, other than the other things I listed before. Some songs can do it well. An example of good use in the song is The Hills from The Weeknd. Personally, I don't like The Weeknd. A lot of his songs I feel partially, falls into the categories I've already discussed. But in the chorus of The Hills, it elevates the song and gives it a bit more oomph. You know what I mean? Makes it more of a spectacle once you to listen to it more. But 9 out of 11 times in New York, it just crashes and burns. Sorry, but about the long tangent. I just wanted you to understand what old Joe was yapping about and how him and I feel about rap music. Let me know if you agree or if you think I'm just yapping out of my ass and I don't know anything. Okay, back to the story. That's essentially one of the things old Joe rambled on about, but like I said earlier in the video, I was having the time of my life. I kept taking hit after hit after hit on my wacky tobacco cart, trying to get as high as possible. It was a success, and I was living the high life, if you could say. Old Joe had a way of talking where I felt compelled to listen to what he had to say. He had the whole inspirational vibe going on, and I honestly could have seen this guy as like a big role model for me in a way. Remember how FatCanda and I started this group to make a new permanent friend group and to play games together? Well, none of that ended up happening, as you see. This is what we were doing. FatCanda was just driving around the GTA streets, zoned out, not doing really anything of importance. Also, just having fun listening to old Joe ramble. Zelee was playing Destiny, quietly listening. I don't remember too much of Zelee just because he was so quiet that you could consider him background character status, but I assume he was having fun listening to old Joe too because he never left. Old Joe was just chilling on the Xbox dashboard, yapping it up. I'm guessing talking so much with his hands that they caught on fire, and I was just staring at my TV. On the TV, it was just the GTA sky. You know how, and when you switch sessions online, you just have a visual of the city from the sky's point of view. That was pretty much where I was at. And after the music topic was done, he started talking about like problems in America with discrimination and whatnot. You know, actual like real and valid concerns that we have in the real world. I just can't express enough how captivating old Joe had me. He could have been talking about something as mundane as the origin of yawn, or how to file your taxes, or even how boring you are, and I would have listened to every single word. Not only that, but the Sandman's crusty, musty, dusty dust started to take a hold of me. Same with FatCanda. I don't know when FatCanda got off, but I want to say around maybe 2:20, I was completely greened out. My very uncomfortable gaming chair turned into a soft, loving cloud. That's how you know it's bedtime. Old Joe was still wide awake, having fun, talking about who the hell knows at this point. At this time, I struggled to comprehend anything bro was saying. My attention went from a burning blaze of hellfire to a simmering ember after a couple hours. Not that he was becoming boring, but as I said, the Sandman's leafy greens powder was making me sleepy. I announced that it was my bedtime. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Zelee, if I remember him, pretty sure it was him. I think so. He also decided to head out. Again, I'm not totally positive that he got off when I did, but I feel like he did. I told everyone nighty-night, and FatCanda I'd see him tomorrow. I turned off my Xbox, and instead of turning on YouTube, I passed out as soon as my head hit the pillows. I know that's like an expression or like, you know, like exaggerating, but I'm not even kidding. I didn't even cover up with blankets. I was completely out. As fun as I had that night, I just had the feeling that this was going to be a one-time thing, and that ended up being the case. Zelee was a really nice guy and was really fun when he was talking, but after old Joe joined, Zelee talked less than a Far Cry protagonist after the fourth game. So I didn't even see myself hanging out with him again, although I'm glad I met him. Honestly, I'm glad he was there. It's always nice to have a rack to hold your coat, you know? As for old Joe, he didn't really play Xbox, if I remember correctly. I forgot what his reason was, but he said that he didn't really play Xbox that often, and we just happened to catch him on a day he was on. And that was the last we ever heard of old Joe. Until about 5 years later, FatCanda, the absolute legend himself, found one of his political live streams where he was talking about politics, naturally. FatCanda went a step forward and commented telling him about our fun night and asked if he remembered. To our surprise, he actually did. When he remembered, a smile grew on his face, and I remember FatCanda clipping him saying something along the lines of like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was just like, "Oh, I remember that night. You guys were awesome. I had so much fun that night." You know, I wasn't expecting him to say that, to be honest. I didn't expect him to remember us, and I'm glad. That actually made me very happy that he remembered, and it was a good memory for him. It really is it's awesome. Uh, I tried to find a clip, the clip FatCanda sent me, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I asked if he could find it, but to no avail. I'm sorry, everyone, but I really tried. Except I lied. FatCanda hit me up with a video and his channel. So here's the clip and a link to his channel. Definitely check it out because this guy is an absolute Chad, personality-wise. I don't know anything about his like politics or anything, but like, dude is a character. And
I remember a while ago we met at the Xbox one night on GTA. That sounds like me, Alien. Yeah, yeah. Good to see you coming through to check on me. I hope all is well with you. Um, yeah.
so after that wonderful night, did we at all play any games together?
No.
But that's alright, because the night was an absolute fun time. Just being able to turn my brain off and have fun, being goofy and temporarily escaping not only the real world, but uh, the dread of not being able to replace Nova as a friend is just what I needed, to be honest. Escape from all that. Nova, though, is one of those friends that are just, are cemented in reject history, if I can say it like that. One way or another, she made such an impact on my life, and she was someone I couldn't replace no matter what I did. I may have tried, but it never worked out. And I'm not very upset about that, to be honest, because obviously Nova's one of my greatest friends of all time, and I wouldn't trade Nova for the world at all. So Nova, thank you for unblocking me, and I'm glad that we were able to make amends and become friends again, and we were able to start the group up again. But yeah, that's essentially the story on me and my boy FatCanda trying to replace our buddy Nova to start a new friend group. We may have not ended up walking out with a new friend group that night, but we did walk out with one of the best nights of our lives. If I could, I would relive that day, or night, I guess, over and over again. Making jokes and laughing with FatCanda and having serious discussions about stuff I was passionate about, while being more fried than that crumb you're too lazy to get out of the air fryer. In turn, making you just cook it over and over again, you monster. Just put the damn thing out of its misery already, you dickhead. Now, take that sound advice and get the fuck out of my cellar, OS.